Good morning, Miss Talisha. I am so sorry that it was a delay for me to get this to you, but I definitely wanted to make the time in order for us to touch base on the action plan. So I'm going to send over this with the video, right? So obviously the first thing I'm going to do is fill in your center. And see how this is for the package dollar per ticket? I actually do want to start off with the service dollar per ticket. Bear with. All right, so in 2025, on average, Forest Hills, again, we all know that you normally rank number one in service dollar per ticket. You had ended 2025 at 63.30. So 63.30. Our goal through February and March is just to add an additional dollar to that, right? So for February, we want to goal ourselves at 64. And in March, we want to goal ourselves to 65. So how are we going to do that, right? The first thing we want to check is we want to go to Wizard Beans, which I already have pulled up, and we're going to go to Teams, My Waxers, Service Breakdown. This is going to show us what Forest Hills normally does on average, what their service mix is. So I'm going to click on Forest Hills. And just to get the full idea of the data, we're going to do the entire year. That's going to take a bit to load. So while that is loading, I am going to go back to that package dollar per ticket and just start to fill that out. So our package dollar per ticket in 2025, we ended at 56.11. So again, over baseline, amazing work. We're going to want to continue to build off of that and add $1 more per month. So for February, we're looking at 57. For March, we're looking at 58. And for April, we're looking at 59. Let me just check in on the Wizard Beans. Still loading. So again, we'll look at the retention report in order to fill out those goals as well. So retention, of course. Hold on one second. Let me just start again. Boop, boop, boop. Wizard Beans. Again, Team, My Waxers, Service Breakdown, Forest Hills, 1 year, load data. Okay, so again, while that's loading, we're going to check out our retention report. So I'm in your books. We're going to go to your dashboard. We're going to go to reports. I have to hit on analytics first because my reports never fully shows up right away. So then we can go to reports and we're going to type in retention. And you'll see it right here, loyalty guest retention summary. That's the one that we want to look at. And then in order to check the retention, we need 60 days worth of data, right? That's on average to get to show us exactly what we're looking for. So if we want to see our retention from December, we have to go back to October. So I'm going to click into October from the 1st to the 31st. And we're going to leave it by center for right now. And we could see here we got 31 new guests in October. And out of that 31, 11 of them returned to the center, which gives us a retention of 35.48. So I'm going to pull up our thing again, 31.48. And then for our repeat guests, we saw 1,102, 694 returned, giving us a retention of 62.98. that's not the right one. 62.98. So while this is definitely great to see, our baseline for retention is 33%. So I'm going to put 33% in for April because that's what we want to get to. I will leave these two blank for you to fill out on what you want your center to achieve, just knowing that by April we want to make sure we're at that baseline. Our repeat goal is very similar, so great to see that it's almost 63%, but our ultimate goal is 70% or higher. So I'm going to put in 70% for our baseline, and I'll let you fill out the repeat goal for February and March. Wizard Beans is not working, which is not cool. That is not going to make the video any helpful for you. I'm going to try and do a smaller timeline, but I definitely do recommend looking at that yearly view. I'm just going to do for January just to be able to show you exactly what we're looking for. Looking at it for progress in the month of January is important. So again, instead of the entire year to get full data, I'm just going to go to this month. There we go. So we can see here is our service mix, right? Our top 5 services that we want to see are Brazilian, eyebrow, underarm, lip, or chin. We can see here Brazilian is our number 1. Next up is our eyebrows. Third is our underarms. And we can see right here our 4th and 5th is lip and stomach strip. Now stomach strip is a higher service dollar than chin. So then what our focus would be is either one of two things, and I'll leave this up to you to decide. But do we want to work on separating a bigger gap between our underarm and our lip? You could see right here, they're only a few services apart. Underarms coming in at 142, upper lips coming in at 128. Or do we want to continue to grow the stomach strip and have that outbeat the lip? Or, and I'm just going to put in a third option here, even though I said 2, how can we go from a stomach strip to a full stomach? Really building on that service dollar. Because again, you guys do have a great service mix. You are above baseline, but we want to continue to grow the center. Again, looking at an entire year's worth of data is going to be critical for this part versus a month's worth of data, just to make sure that you are in line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this over and I'm going to fill that out for our service dollar. So you can see here, exactly like I said, this is what it's going to be for the current top. So we have Brazilian, which we'll leave as bikini, eyebrow, correct. Then we have underarm, then we have lip, and then we have stomach strip. So I will leave the goal to you on what you would like to do. So I'm going to erase this and leave that for you to fill out. What do you want to work on? Do we want to work on making that a bigger gap with the underarm through above the lip and stomach strip? Do we want to work on that stomach strip becoming higher than the lip? Or do we want to work on that stomach strip enhancing that to a full stomach? Or something else maybe, but those were the top 3 that I would recommend. So I'll leave that for you to fill out. Okay. Next, how do we work on, this is the package dollar. I'm so sorry. Let me fix that real quick. So service dollar, there we go. Okay. Then how do we focus on that, right? So next we're going to look at each individual wax specialist. So when we flip back over to Wizard Beans, we can see our breakdown for each of our associates here. And we can see if they fall in line with what the centers is. So for example, Dolly, she Brazilian number 1, awesome. Right here though, we could see underarms is number 2 and eyebrows is number 3. So we want to make sure that we realign that. So we want to speak with Dolly and have eyebrows become her focus again in order for alignment. And then we can see lip and stomach strip do fall back in line with the center. So again, going back to that main goal. So Dolly's main 2 focuses are going to be eyebrows and then whatever you want that center focus to be. I'm just going to do another example. We'll go to Olga. We could see that Brazilian, eyebrow, underarm, lip are all in order. Bikini full, we're going to just put that in with the Brazilian column. So we're going to look at what's next. Chin is next. So then going back to what you want that main center focus to be would be Olga's main focus. So then in the plan, right, we would put Olga and then whatever the main focus is. Who is Dolly, right, is going to be eyebrows number 2, underarm number 3, and then whatever that other main focus is. Okay. Any support? I know you're without a DM. Currently without DM. I would like to schedule monthly meetings for you just to check the progress on this. So I will schedule time either on the 31st or the 1st of every month or somewhere around the end or beginning of the month, just so we can check in with each other and see where we're at. Any additional support, please fill out right here for me to see. That way I can help you. Okay. You can fill this out as well. I'm not sure if you need any wax specialists. If you do, please just fill out the current number of wax specialists that you have. Why is this? And the shifts that you need right now. Okay? That is going to be the service dollar per ticket focus. So again, I'm going to save that. I will send that over to you. Then we're going to look back on the package dollar. Okay, so let me pull up the package dollar. The next thing I want to go into is the retention, right? Because I feel like that's a good transition while we're already focusing on the wax specialists with their service mix. So going back here, right, where we were able to identify for the center, we're going to drop down and do by therapist. We're going to type in that October again. Refresh. And give it a minute. Wow, everything is so slow today. We love Zenoti. While that's loading, just because for sake of time, you know how we broke down the services for each wax specialist? Now we're going to break down the packages for the center and each GSA. So we're going to go to packages, breakdown. Again, for the sake of nothing loading, I am going to just pull up this month. But again, I do recommend it's 6 months, rolling 6 months for this report. It doesn't do a full year. But we will just do this month to make sure that it loads for this video. And 9 times out of 10, this usually falls in line with the services that we've already identified, right? So Brazilian coming in at number 1. We don't have to look at the 7 versus 11 just yet. Then we see underarm coming in as number 2, eyebrows as 3, and lip as 4. So first thing that we want to focus on is moving that eyebrow back up to the second slot. So then once again, I'm going to move this over, and we're very close. So we got underarm coming in at number 2, lip coming in at number 3, and eyebrow coming in at number 4. And I missed what number 5 was actually, so I'm just going to go back real quick. Oh, lower leg. Very nice. All right, so I will leave the goal for you to fill out. Once again, you are above baseline, so this would just be really focusing in on how to build upon that even more. Then, just like we did for the wax specialist, we're going to go into the GSAs and see what their service mix is. So we can see Emberly here, which I'm assuming she's new, didn't sell anything. Let's go into Emily, Brazilian, underarm, lip, and then lower leg. So then I would say for Emily, again, just to kind of focus on getting that service mix back in order, eyebrow is going to be her main focus. I'll leave the rest for you to fill out. Okay, let's see if that retention report filled out for us. Doesn't look like it did. This is still from a center view, which I am not sure why nothing is working when I finally decide to do this video. Still loading. Wow, I don't like when things don't load quickly. It's my biggest pet peeve, just so you're aware. There is another way. I trust this way more through Zenoti. Again, I'm not sure why it's taking forever to load, but I will show you how to get to it from Wizard Beans as well. So again, team my waxers, and then you could see retention waxer. So we're going to click on that. It already has October filled out, so all we need to do is click on Forest Hills, and hopefully that'll load a little bit faster. Oh, thank God. All right. So you could see Dolly, for example. Ignore these for a minute, right? And just work with me here. So, new guests. Dolly saw 7 new guests. Out of that 7, 46% went back to her. So this is where I like the other report better because it breaks it up a little bit easier for me. I am a numbers person, but horrific at math. So 46% of 7 is 3. So we want to know what happened to the other 4 guests, right? Well, we know right here, 14 to 15% of them saw someone else, which means 1. So we have 3 people who went back to Dolly and 1 other person who went to someone else, which means we missed out on 3 opportunities. Again, still a pretty hefty percentage, knowing that our baseline is 33%. That is good, but how can we make that even better, right? If we wanted Dolly to focus on a 3rd thing, because we already know that she's focusing on 2, and I would probably leave it at 2 if these are aligned. So let's go to Olga. So we could see Olga, who only has right now 1 main focus of whatever you want that center focus to be. So out of the 6 new guests she saw, right, 35% returned back to her, which means 2 of them. So the other 4 went somewhere else. Now, again, that percentage-wise does fit under our baseline, but we want to make it even better. And since she only has 1 focus at this point in time, maybe we can revisit that first time guest experience. Or if we wanted to, we could go into the repeat guests, right? So she saw 130 repeat guests, and out of that 133, 64 went back to her. 56. Sorry, wrong line. So 130 times, we'll just give it to her 57%. 74 guests went back to her. But that leaves a lot on the table, and that is below baseline. So even instead of the first time guest experience, how can we continue to build on our repeat guests, right? Maybe that pass off language, right? When they come out of the suite and they pass off to the GSA saying exactly when they want to see them back, whether it's 3, 4, 8 weeks, that communication becomes very critical when we're talking about rebuilding that rebook and retention. So again, I'll leave this for you to create a plan for your wax specialist as well. Again, we will meet once a month. And then if you could send this back to me, I know that this is due from me to Ryan on Wednesday the 28th. So if you could get this back to me by the end of day, that would be fantastic. If you do need more time, I know I was delayed in getting you this video, so please just reach out and let me know that if you need an extension, so then I can make Ryan aware. But I'm going to send both of these two plans over to you, as well as this link. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out. I will make sure to make time for you today, okay? Have a wonderful day.